Hello, welcome to another episode of Somewhere Between a film and TV podcast. We're your hosts. I am Daniel Parr.
And I'm Erwin Trejo.
And yeah, you're good now. You can talk.
No, I don't like the way you talk to me.
Well, I was trying to do the countdown thing to get it an even number, and you were singing the iCarly song.
It's just, that's where my mind goes.
I know. It's why I don't want to count down every time we do it. What are we talking about? Minions. We're talking about
Yes,
Minions.
let's talk about Minions.
Oh, hang on, we're
An
talking about other
actual
stuff
film.
too. A real movie, real cinema. Did you wear a suit? I was with you. No, you didn't.
I was like, okay. I was like ready to answer too.
And Elvis, and The Black Phone, and Stranger Things,
Oh my gosh.
and a bit of The Boys. We will be here for a little bit, but I'm excited to talk about all this stuff. I liked Minions, but I loved like everything else. What'd you think?
Oh, the Minions?
Yeah.
I like the Minions. It was. I didn't see
Me
the.
too.
I didn't see the Minions, like the very first one of that. But I've seen all the Despicable Me movies, and I love the Despicable Me movies.
You didn't see the you didn't see the first Minions?
No, why?
Wow.
So clearly, I don't understand what's happening. What is a minion? Where did
Did
they
you
come
understand
from?
Did you understand what happened in this film?
Dude, I know. Where did they come from? I don't know.
Why are they so Mexican in this one?
I don't know. Maybe because I started watching it and all of a sudden, like, I just heard like my language.
They speak so much Spanish. Thank you, Minions, for your representation. It means the world.
I mean,
I didn't even do the intro.
I don't know what. Honestly, I don't even know what to say about.
This is gonna be a hard thing to review seriously.
This is
because
also because like at the end of the day, like it just felt like it was just like it made me laugh like some parts and it was like alright to watch.
some of it made me laugh embarrassing hard though. I thought the airplane scene was tremendous. And whenever he takes picture with the big banana, I was like, yeah. Bob is the best part of this.
I really don't know
And
what else to say.
Okay, actually, I guess criticizing it, I think Despicable Me 1 and 2 are great.
Yes.
I am not the biggest fan of the first Minions movie because they don't do anything in it. They just run around. And, like, I think that they're hilarious, but that also came out at a point where the marketing for these little fellas was everywhere.
Dude, they were everywhere.
Yeah, like everywhere. And the pandemic giving this movie like a 2-year delay, I think gave it a real big boost in terms of people actually liking these guys. Because you got a break from them and you're like, oh yeah, they're still funny.
I just love the memes around it.
Despicable Me 3, I didn't love, but I actually did love the Minions part where they have to escape prison. It's very funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely love the first one more than out of all three of the Despicable Me movies, but I still love all of them.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me
The
of
first
like Kung
one,
Fu Panda.
Did I tell you I watched the first one pretty recently and it looks older?
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, I was kind of surprised because credit where credit's due with this one. It's beautiful. It is so well animated. And there's a real vibrancy here. I love the setting. I love the insane album that they came out with for this.
Oh.
With like Tame Impala, and I like the 70s. Basically, me just laughing that they're all wearing wigs. And they're all wearing those like floral button-ups. It's awesome. The thing I actually didn't love in this, but I liked actually, was Gru.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that the Gru stuff, I liked him specifically a lot. Steve Carell, still great in that role. It's just that his subplot with the villain people that he looks up to, I didn't know anything about them, and they never bothered to elaborate, so I didn't really ever care. I don't know, I just felt like they were a little underutilized, but this movie's also, an hour 35, so
yeah,
what does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel slow or anything as well.
Yeah. It's really just a vehicle for the Minions to show up, do something insane, and then leave.
Yes, I did like everything
Like
with
that.
Gru, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. They're hilarious to me. So they remind me a lot of Tom and Jerry. And Colton thought I was insane for saying this, our friend, but the Minions have always reminded me of old, silent French cinema.
Dude, they weren't silent at all.
Like, well, just in terms of it's all about the slapstick for them, which I think can be hard to make funny anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like it in, for example, I don't know, a scary movie or whatever.
Scary movie.
Yeah. The Minions are cool, though. They're awesome.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite Minion?
No, dude. They all look the same to me.
Your favorite Minion's not Bob?
I don't know which one that... I don't know who that
That's
one
the one
is.
with the two different colored eyes.
Dude, I don't know. Apparently they don't have a gender, and so I don't know what they are.
Well, you didn't know that King Bob, he became king in the first one.
Why would it matter?
And they try to hang them in that movie.
Minions?
Yeah, and they fall out of the nooses.
I love murder.
I don't know, 3.5 out of 5. I liked it. It was good.
Yeah, 3.5. 3.5. I was like 3.5.
Yeah. 3.5. I don't know what else, like, the memes are funny too.
Yeah, the meme. Honestly, the memes for the Minions movie is hilarious. The fact
like
that so
that
many
one
people
where-
were banned from it.
Oh, yeah. Being banned from watching Minions. Well, they're throwing stuff at the screen.
I don't care.
Have you tried the Minion milkshake yet?
No, that sounds disgusting.
Or the banana Minion icy?
No, where?
That one's at specific theaters.
Oh.
The Minion milkshake is at an ice cream place. Which one? Is it Amy's? No, it's not Amy's.
Dairy
It's
Queen.
one of them. I'll look it up later. It's not
Oh.
that important. Dairy Queen had a Jurassic World one for the first one when that came out.
Nice.
It was good. I enjoyed it more than I experienced Dominion, that's for sure. Sorry, I just wanted to say that. I wanted to put that there. What other movies are there? The Black Phone. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
I love that movie.
Yes.
I loved it a lot.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic.
I-
The number one movie in the world. Actually, it did not
I don't
get
think it
that.
ever was number one
Yes,
movie in the
no,
world,
not
but
at all.
it's it hit over 100 million, and it was
Yes.
made on an $18 million budget, which Blumhouse is so good at doing. They're so good at making movies on the cheap,
Mm-hmm.
but that makes them have more of a creative sort of. What are the limitations in terms of creativity, and what can you do
Yeah.
to go around that? And this movie, when you really think about it, takes place in like 3 different places:
Mm-hmm.
the house, the basement, and the school.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And like
this
the
movie's
characters as
incredible.
well, or like the actors, it's like very limited.
the kid actors
Yeah.
are phenomenal in this. This movie would not work without them. Ethan Hawke is also incredible in this. I don't know if you saw Sinister,
I
but
did.
Sinister to me is like one of the scarier movies to come out in recent times. It actually had a scientific study done behind it. In terms of pure science, that movie's considered the number 1 scariest movie ever, which is
Science rules.
which is interesting. I don't know if I agree with that. I just love that movie a lot, and it's probably one of my favorite horror movies.
Yeah. I'm so picky when it comes to horror movies just because I feel like they're all pretty much the same and they don't really have substance. I guess like their characters, like the things that you're supposed to be scared of, they mostly just go for like I guess what is it? Like the fear factor in terms of like just out of nowhere type of scare instead of just letting silence and
Yeah.
just like the image of it scare you, you know?
And while I don't agree with that necessarily, you saying that they're all the same, I mean, a lot of them are like similar, but I'm nicer to horror movies,
Yeah.
I think.
Wait,
than
don't you
might
like
be.
the Saw movies?
I do.
Wait, so you
I like those movies.
so you like to watch people's guts fly out?
Not really. I think Hostel sucks.
I haven't seen Hostel.
I don't know. I don't know why I like the Saw movies so much. I enjoy that they have insane twists in them. Stuff
Okay.
that you could never think of.
Okay,
It happens in those.
I do like the twist. I remember watching that with you. And I'm like, what?
And then he goes through like his 5-minute monologue,
Yeah.
and then the theme plays, and you're like, "Whoa, my god!" The whole time. It's so good. I'm gonna defend those movies forever. But with this, there are a couple jump scares, but they work.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this has some imagery in it that they aren't jump scares, but it is scary. Like there's a couple of moments where it'll just pan and it is silent, but there'll be like something in the shadow, and you're just like, oh my god.
Like, that's what I love. I love the fact that it lets like you as like the audience let your imagination like take over. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people struggle with when it comes to horror as well, where when people don't think, I guess, you know, when people say, oh, it's just mindless. I was like, no, it's like when you're actually like paying attention and like seeing what the director's trying to like make the audience see as well. Typically, like stuff like that, where like a shadow or like something dark right there, like that's scary to think about. You know, especially if you're in that situation.
Even though A24's like horror brand is getting a little bit formulaic in terms of how it works, the best horror movies, like, because they know this at least though, are when it's about something. And this movie is about, even though it has supernatural aspects to it, it is about the childhood adolescence sort of leaving, because you realize that the world is harsh and scary, and there's sort of a trauma there with the two children, because you realize that while this kid is kidnapped, even when he gets to go home in this, it's still shitty for him, because he has to go back to this dad who was affected by alcoholism and all that. He doesn't escape abuse, even though I think he apologized at the end of this movie. Although, I also clarify, we do spoil everything on this show. I forgot to, because we didn't do the intro for this. I'll need to write that in the description. But I don't know. I loved this movie so much. Like I was thinking about it a lot after I was done with it, because it's more about the scariness of the real world and some of the sort of, some of this could happen, not the stuff with the phone, for all I know. I don't know. But it's also, it reminded me of Stephen King a lot because that's also what a lot of his stuff is. Like, it's about childhood innocence being lost. And we'll get into Stranger Things in a second, which is also heavily inspired by that. But then I find out that Joe Hill is the son of Stephen King, and he wrote this. So I was like, okay, that checks out. I was like, that makes sense what this source material is. But I think Scott Derrickson is such a good horror director. I have not seen The Exorcism of Emily Rose, but I've heard it's amazing. Sinister is incredible. And I mean, he directed Doctor Strange, but that's not scary. 4.5 out of 5 for this. It's one of my more, I don't know. I keep on saying this with like a bunch of movies, but like, it's one of my favorites of the year. But same goes for this. So, what'd you think?
4.5 out of 5.
All right. We haven't talked to each other about this next movie very much, but I'm gonna be raving about it in a second. Elvis, starring Austin Butler.
Here we go.
Tom Hanks, directed by Baz Luhrmann. Definitely directed by Baz Luhrmann.
Yes, that style is definitely something that. Yeah, honestly, if it wasn't for that, I don't know if like the movie itself would have gone fast, or like it wouldn't have felt like 3 hours.
I'm gonna clarify this right off the bat. I think this is a 5 out of 5 movie. I was like so enamored by this. I thought that Austin Butler was just so energetic and charged, and he carries this movie so well.
Yes.
I was reading an interview with Baz Luhrmann where he was saying that Harry Styles originally wanted to be in this as Elvis, and while I thought that would have worked, he already is his own icon.
Yeah.
So casting someone like we both know Austin Butler from like iCarly and
how dare
Hannah
you?
Montana,
it was Zoe 101
and Zoe 101 and random side character and Ned's Declassified Survival Guide.
Yes. Why did they make one for high school?
And they should have.
Yes, I would have been watching it.
He was good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but don't tell me that you knew who he was, because I definitely didn't at the time.
Not at first. I was like, why does he look? It's just weird.
But I know we've talked about this briefly. I don't know what Tom Hanks is doing in this movie, but I liked it. I at first I was taken incredibly off guard by it,
Yes.
but I got really interested.
Hmm.
And before I go any further, I'm gonna ask you what you thought of it.
Yes, I like this movie a lot. I enjoyed it. I love the style of the movie. I love Elvis. I like Tom Hanks' performance. Some, yeah, I guess. I, what else? I'm trying to think of what else. I wish they, I don't know. I think when it comes to biopics, it's kind of hard to like for
Yeah.
sure put so much into so little time you got. Regardless, even though this movie was 3 hours, like it still felt like I could have watched another like 2 hours straight of Elvis again. You
I
know?
usually don't wish for director's cuts, but if
Yeah.
there's a longer version of this movie out
Yeah.
there, I'll take it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
It's just because like
Like,
this style alone, just definitely like I don't know. It just felt like I could just be watching that endlessly type of thing, right? For
yeah.
me, that didn't work. With it's just him. I wish they like talked more about his family dynamics because
Mhm.
they did talk about it and it felt like it definitely left a toll on him, but I wish they kept bringing it back and like
Yeah.
showcasing it and how much of effect it had on him. That and it's just like also his manager, like Tom Hanks' character. Um,
The idea of him telling the story
yeah,
over.
I mean, I like that perspective as well, but I wish it just showed like Elvis's perspective because it seems like we're watching it from the manager's perspective, right? Which I'm like at first
Right.
I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's really cool, but it never felt like I had the chance to see Elvis's perspective.
The reason why this is where you and I disagree on
Mm-hmm.
that. The reason why that does work for me is because this movie specifically, you could tell by like the first 20 minutes, Elvis like isn't in the movie.
Yes.
It's a lot of following Tom Hanks running around before he gives his first performance,
Mm-hmm.
and then he shows up on the stage, and it has that insane moment where he makes all the girls like pretty much orgasm in the
Yes.
middle of the, and like I mean that,
Yeah.
and then the camera like shakes while he's gyrating, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just insane, and then it plays that guitar like strum thing that's in the trailer,
Yes.
and then everyone's freaking out over it, and it's just a really well done piece of like a build up. And that illustrated to me the moment that happens, the moment that he's in the church where he first walks in, and he's basically like ascending whenever he's experiencing music for the first time when he's a
Yeah.
kid, because he's inspired by Shazam, which I think is cool.
Mm-hmm.
uh that's why he does his hair that way. It instantly tells me through iconography and how this movie wants to display him, like this is an icon, and we want to treat him that way up until you realize the very rare glimpses where you see him as a person,
Mm-hmm.
that he is not that. He is very much broken and alone, and it's all a display.
See,
So
and I think because we already know he's such an icon already that
yeah,
why wouldn't they showcase him, you know, being broken, him as a actual person, seeing like us, like the audience, like see that side of him because of course like, we already know how he was beforehand, especially with like how people talked about
mm,
him, videos and all of how he was. Even they showcased it in the movie, but that's where I felt like they showcased more of him, just like him as Elvis. Let's say like, like his persona as Elvis, more so than him just actually like Elvis.
right.
How he really is like outside of that role.
The reason why I don't know, because this is told from the manager perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the way up until the end, and the end is just him, just his ex-wife, in the car alone. And did you cry at this movie?
No.
Okay, I did, and
Wow,
it
calm
was
down.
it was that scene, whenever it's just those two, and he's finally having like a one-on-one conversation, and
Wait, with the
like
wife?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I loved that. I thought like it brought the
Oh,
whole movie home
see,
for me.
and I think it
Like
would have worked well too, but like they didn't really showcase a lot of like of his wife at the time, you know. See, and it's like stuff like that
yeah,
where I wish they like delve into like more of his family thing, but like then again, it's like he wasn't really like he didn't have time to be with his family or he chose not to be. But like, I wish they
mm.
showcased that, and like her struggles with how Elvis was and who was he
It's
becoming.
because he starts to be like more and more controlled by his manager. And actually there's a scene in this where like my minor things with it are sort of aligned with yours, where I'm like, I just wanted more of this, really. Like, I mean, weird gripe, but I was like, more movie. The Stranger Things, like, Papa, more movie, please.
Yeah.
That that meme. Just that. And I was like, there was a scene where he walked by his wife where he was kissing all those girls.
Oh, yeah.
And it pans to his wife while I was thinking, I wonder what his wife thinks.
Yeah, exactly. But like, we never really, like, we saw her reaction, and I was like, of course we wouldn't react that way. But it's just like we never really knew how like she really felt.
What's so fascinating is so one of my favorite books ever is The Great Gatsby, and Baz Luhrmann did.
Daniel, anytime he sees a color, he's like, wow, I just orgasmed with like so many ideas of what this color means.
What am I about to teach, man?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. What was I saying? Oh, Great Gatsby is a movie I liked, but I thought his style became a bit too enamored with the glossiness of it. But the whole point of Great Gatsby is that Leonardo DiCaprio's character, he's putting on a show, and within the book, this is all supposed to be like a masking of how alone he is because he's not allowed to be with the woman he loves, which is, this movie. But like, this one understood the point of that novel somehow better. And I thought got too hooked on looking flashy and everything. I thought the flashier it gets, the more you understand that Elvis is kind of compensating for what he's missing because of the way the movie conveys it. And I don't know, what was it? I also love the soundtrack. You and I are both huge fans of Doja Cat, so whenever this movie shows up and he goes to Beale Street and the Doja Cat song starts, and I was like, okay, yep, yeah. I didn't mind the weird anachronism of movies or songs from the 2010s playing in like the 60s and 70s. Why not?
I don't care. It's
like,
music.
Yeah, it's awesome, right?
Yes.
Like, as long as it's cool. I don't know. I liked it. I think because another movie I think about all the time whenever I think about biopics is
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No, Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story. Which makes fun of biopics relentlessly. Like, I liked Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
Rami Malek's like, why you watch that? He's amazing in it, but the movie surrounding him it's all right. Like, but he's great in it. And then this, I think, if anyone else would have done this, it was that one tweet that I told you I saw that was like, do you ever wish that your biopics were more like Speed Racer? That's this movie.
Basically.
Because he's even doing some old editing tricks from like the early 2000s, like whenever Tom Hanks is like running around the casino and it's like doing the weird sort of pan camera thing. Instantly you know that you're like, this movie's doing very well. I didn't know how big a hit a movie about Elvis would be because he is very famous. He's like an icon. He's one of the most well-known people of all time. And I think this movie is also an indictment of modern pop and how they treat their artist, because there's a segment in this that reminded me of, you know who BTS is, right?
Yes.
They do all these like sort of concerts where, and a lot of K-pop people do this, where they'll have to perform via satellite for people. And there's the whole thing where Tom Hanks touches on that and how much he controls, how he goes on like international waters and all that. I don't know, it made me think of that. And I was like, I'm wondering what Baz Luhrmann's trying to say about the music industry as a whole right now. Because I feel like by making it...
For me, what I took away from that is just like how much artists like to sample their stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And like maybe not give credit to the originals.
That's true.
Well.
There's a controversy about Elvis, and it's, did he steal songs or did he tribute them?
Yes.
Like, because like there's a whole thing in this movie, whether or not this applies to real life. This is how the movie portrays it, that Elvis took African American artist music and did a lot of sampling, and some people would even say stealing. Do I know if he did or not? No, I do not. But the movie, the way this presents it within context, I'm like, okay, it makes sense here.
Yes.
But real life, I don't know. Like, this separate fact from fiction. I don't know how much of this movie is real. I don't know how much of this movie is fake or whatever. And I was also happy to see Dacre Montgomery in this.
Dude, he's in it for like a scene.
I like him though.
I like him too, but like I didn't really think much of him.
And not Maggie Gyllenhaal, which I'm still confused about.
I don't. Stop bringing her out. There's no way she was in it.
She was in the credits, I swear.
I can't do that. I remember that when you told me that, I was like, what? Me looking through IMDb, there's no
someone else
trace.
told me that, and I was like, who? But then I remembered reading that she was in this too, so I was like, was she? And then it turns out that she dropped out of it. But I thought that her name was still there.
Yeah, Daniel, I'm not gaslighting you or anything, but you know how crazy you sound?
This one, you know what? I'll agree with you, because I have no idea.
Because I don't remember seeing... Oh my god. Maybe it's the Mandela effect.
Maybe. What's your score for this?
4 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Wow.
Oh, dude, this shot. Oh my god. It's in the trailer, but whenever he's being arrested and the fireworks pop while like it's in front of his... There's a lot of that in this movie where I'm just like, wow. I don't know. Everything in this works for me. It's going to be really high on my like favorite movies of the year list whenever we do that. But let's move on to some TV.
Nice.
Speaking of Dacre Montgomery, even though he's not really in this season, he kind of is. Stranger Things season 4 is very long, but worth it and earned it, I think. This show, every time it comes back, is like, hey, I'm here to remind you that I am one of your favorite TV shows. And that's true. How do you feel about this show as a whole, and how do you feel about the most recent season?
I love this show, and I think this past season is probably like my favorite season out of the entire show.
I agree with you.
Thanks.
I love that this show has decided to grow up with its characters.
Dude, I can't imagine like keeping the kids the same.
Just like acting the same or the tone being the same.
Yes.
I think you asked me this, and I think we agree on it. The way like my favorite seasons are 4, 3, 1, 2.
Yes.
And season 4, I just found so. It's interesting. It has so many characters, but I found it so focused. And by the time Volume 2 came out, we talk about how I don't love the binge model all that much.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 month break that they took, I thought was such a smart idea for those final 2 episodes, because it's all anybody could think about for like the next month.
Yeah.
And then the payoff was a 4-hour 2-episode thing. Like the final episode's 2.5 hours, and I would not question that at all. I would watch it again really happily. I loved everything about this. I like that the show, even though it's what I think that people, you know how people like, well, Ghostbusters Afterlife coming out, like 80s set dressing and callbacks and nostalgia and all that. This show uses the 80s not just as set dressing, but as a real atmospheric time period. And the story that it's telling would not be able to take place now. So I understand. And I love that this season finally decided to clarify that the music the whole time in the show has meant something.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was so clever and so smart. The Metallica scene is one of the best scenes of the show. The running up that hill scene with
best.
Kate Bush is one of the best episodes of this entire show. I don't know. It's just everything. This is another one of those things where I can only rave about it. I know that some people...
I have one issue.
I was about to say, I know that one people have one issue, and I know what his name is. But...
Who, Will?
Is it Mike?
Oh, I mean... No, mine was 11. I was gonna talk about 11.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, I like 11. I still do. I love her character and everything and what they're doing with her. But I just feel like when it comes to the other characters that are so interesting as well, like I love Hopper, you know, And I
Yeah.
love Will's mom. I'm blanking away on Ryder's character name.
Winona Ryder's Joyce.
Joyce, right? Like I don't know, like every other character is so interesting. And it's like the fact of lack of screen time we get with them comparable to like Millie Bobby Brown's character.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's just like I understand like she's the reason why like a lot of this is happening.
Yeah.
And all that, and I don't know. I feel like for me, like it's not really much of an issue, I guess, but it's just more so like I wish. It's just one of those things where it's like I wish we get to spend more time with the other characters. You know.
It's crazy how many people are in this show, and you
Yes.
care about all of them.
Yes.
I realized though the reason for the separation in this season is to build up to the final season.
Mm-hmm.
And I still never really felt like I was, heading towards just build up. This felt like a story. It felt like another season that was just well told. Vecna is giving them an actual monster that can speak was like the best idea they could have done. And
Vecna was great.
Yeah. He's Jamie Campbell Bower as that character
From
and as
Sweeney Todd, the
and
demon barber
Twilight.
of Fleet Street.
And he sure looks like he's from Sweeney Todd and Twilight. That's for sure. Like, come on, you see that guy, you're like, that dude's from Twilight. Even if he wasn't, I'd just be like, that guy. Like, right. I don't know. I liked all the 11 stuff. I like that she's pretty much the entire cause of everything, too. That's the
Dang, why are you
big twist
blaming
of the
her?
show. Well, because that's the big twist of the show, pretty much, which I didn't see coming at all.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
What I did see coming, but that's because I thought they said it, was that he is one. And he was like, because whenever he's like, yeah, I knew one. We talked a lot. And I was like, okay, so it's him.
Damn, so he talks to himself.
That's what I thought that meant.
Me, it's like, oh, so you know Daniel? Oh yeah, I know Daniel. I talk to him a lot. I was like, wait, I'm Daniel.
Daniel Para. Yeah. And okay, so I thought
I'm sorry, it's just Daniel's logic. Wait, you know Spider-Man? Yeah, I talk to him a lot. Wait, you're Spider-Man.
Oh no.
It's like, what? Honestly, at first, whenever he did show up, though, I didn't really think much of him until
neither
like
did I. I just thought he was a guy.
Yeah. And then when he started getting more screen time and like started to help 11, I was just like, this doesn't look good.
Well, it's because Stranger Things does that thing where they make some characters creepy even if they like haven't done anything.
No, yeah, but I think it's because it's literally based around that town.
Yeah. Well, I ended up loving I love the 11 subplot, so I guess that works for me. But because of the way they ended stuff with Matthew Modine is what like really drove that all home for me. Is because it felt very kind of inconclusive in that you're like, how does 11 even feel about that? Like, I understand why she would have mixed feelings because she like cries whenever he dies, right? But she's still like, he asks her to say something and she doesn't, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he still did mistreat all of them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And this really was Sadie Sink's season, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, she's the...
Yeah, I loved her arc in this.
She's the focal point, more or less. And the last episode with Lucas in the house was
amazing.
Yeah.
I was literally like, I was just like breathing. I was like, I just couldn't take it all in. It was so sad.
Yeah, and how
See,
it
that
ends
made me cry,
yeah.
right? Not in Elvis.
Well, that too.
Look, all I'm trying to say is that I'm emotionally stable, unlike you. I'm not saying you're unstable, right?
Well, I think it's good to cry.
Yeah, when
I
it's
did
worth
it this too. You, whatever.
Oh, whoa, what?
Get some feelings, pal. Oh, what else about this? I just have good things to say. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I can't.
Eddie. I love Eddie.
Oh, Eddie
I love
was great.
Eddie.
I just love the fact that anytime they do bring a character into the show, they just become so likable.
Yeah.
Or like not even just likable, just like the fact they're so interesting. You know, like you just wonder what they're doing. Because even with what's his name, Dacre Montgomery.
Oh, as
like
Billy.
Yeah, whenever he was like the villain in like the last season.
I'm sorry, you reminded me of the There's a Simpsons quote
Oh my god.
where he says, "We should always be asking, where's Poochie?" whenever he's off screen. And you saying that reminded me of that.
How?
Because you were like, "Oh, what are they up to when they're not on screen?"
I didn't say that.
It was close though.
No, okay. What I was trying to say, right?
That's exactly what you said.
That's not what I said.
Yep.
Go cry at Elvis.
Go ahead. I will.
Wait, didn't he marry a minor?
Let's not talk about
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah.
The movie glosses over it, so I will too. He wasn't a decade older or anything, that's for sure. He wasn't 24 and she was 14, that's for sure.
I don't want to talk about that now. Oh gosh.
Yeah, you brought it up.
I don't care. You cried over that. I'm sorry. What was I gonna say? Even with a character like Billy, right? A bad person and everything, clearly a racist, but
Yeah.
it's just like it makes him like anytime he's present on screen, you're just so fascinated by, you know, like just Vecna as well, right? And like learning about he was like the first subjects and everything of that operation as well. You're just so fascinated by like how they became and like who they are and everything and what they did.
When this season first starts, this first episode, I was like, I legitimately was wondering if this season was rated TV MA or not, because I didn't check. And it's TV 14, which means that they get away with a lot in it. Because the way that Vecna kills people, I was like, wow, all right.
Yeah.
Specifically when they first do it with Chrissy, because it is so like brutal and kind of out of nowhere, and like the dread of the season overall, the way they build tension and everything.
Dude, the tension whenever Max was going through that, I was just like,
oh no.
Yeah, I just couldn't. It was too much.
I think that they because this show has always been horror tinged. I think they went fully with that this season because Vecna reminded me of Freddy Krueger, and then in episode 4, who else but Robert Englund shows up, and with his eyes torn out and everything.
Yeah.
Which he gives an awesome performance. I think it's so cool that he's in this. That episode's great. It's one of the absolute best.
Yes, Daniel, I know. I saw the show.
Yeah. I don't know. I just keep on saying I don't know because I'm like I
don't know what else to say.
I loved all. Yeah. Like I would pretty much be like I only have great things to say about this.
Yeah.
I even like Mike, even though I think that's like one of some of people's problems sometimes with the show.
I mean, Mike didn't really bother me. For me, it was just like, you know, it's just the fact that like the lack of screen time with him. I was like, oh dang.
I think it's just when you have an ensemble cast, a season focuses on
just a few at a time.
Different people, yeah.
Like I want to see more of Lucas.
Like I bet you anything in the final season they go back to the main few that started the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. Which I really hope they do. So.
Yeah.
And I know 11's gonna happen and all that too, but like I just hope it's just well balanced. That's all.
Like I bet anything that
Steve's gonna die. Hey.
Steve, yeah. And
all
that
right,
Will probably become like
12.
Oh, one more thing. Before we move on to
Will become
the
12,
boys,
right?
Will become what? Will become 12. Will become 12?
Did we get Will wrong?
Will gay? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Sounds like it. Looks like it.
Seems like it. Yeah, that one speech. I mean, it's right there.
There's so many like times they like guessed it or like set it up. Not guessed it. Like set it up.
Will good at drawing?
Will good at drawing? Will Picasso? Next question.
With like a YouTube label that has like the red circle around it.
Oh yeah.
Will painting? What does it mean? D&D? I was at first skeptical of Hopper in this season because
yes, I thought the same way.
I was like, okay, if you do that, the way season 3 ends was like amazing.
Yes,
if you're going to go that route, justify it.
Yes, the end of season 3, I remember crying because I was just like, I love that speech and like that letter and everything.
Right. Yeah.
And so the fact when I saw him, I was like, wait, what? And like I felt the same way where it's just like I really hope like they justify and like there's purpose behind it. And so I'm pretty sure you thought the same way where it's just like it was like
I loved that subplot. And by the time that I think it's episode 8 when Joyce and Hopper see each other, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
It's like you got
good.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's such a, if that show wasn't so emotionally charged, it wouldn't work.
No.
At the end of the day, it's about these people's like relationships with each other.
Yeah.
And it works so well. I'm
excited for the next one. I can't wait to see how it starts, you know, especially since like the town itself was all messed up now.
It ended like Infinity War, pretty much. They didn't wait.
Or Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, they did say that. I mean, don't
you hate Star Wars?
But not at all. No, I love Star Wars.
Oh, you
I'm
just never talk
harsher.
about it.
I'm just harsher on it than
Dang,
we bring it up like every episode.
You're harsher than the actual Star Wars fans?
Definitely not. No. I'm still confused at what the general consensus on Obi-Wan is, but I have no idea. I like that show, and that's what matters to me.
Yeah, I like the show.
Reva's one of the best characters.
Whoa, calm down. You're gonna attack us, man.
1 out of 5 for this show. Let's talk about one more thing.
Okay.
And I don't know if we've ever even mentioned this show on here, but I'm caught up with it in season 3. I'm gonna ask you what you thought first. The Boys.
The Boys. I think about the meme of the Boys.
The Boys. The Spider-Man meme.
Yes. The Boys.
How do you feel?
I love
about
the
the show.
I think it every season it's been getting better and better.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just love how each character feels like I just know who they are. You know how they typically, like, when it comes to TV shows, like Stranger Things does this well, where they introduce characters, but once they introduce these characters, you spend time with them and understand who they are, and they explain who they are. So in that way, when tension arises, there's like actual emotion behind it, and I love that. And with the Boys, there's actually that, you know, and so it's good, and I just love that.
So there's just a bit of a misconception to me about this show. I love this show. I love season 1, 2, but I especially love season 3. I thought season 3 was like an all-timer of TV season-wise. I loved that the marketing for Herogasm was what I thought it would be, and it was just that it was like misleading, and then it turns out it was just the best episode of the show. And that's what it was.
Dude, it was insane. Herogasm, like, besides what the title says and everything, it's just what it showed, right?
Because I think that was misleading on purpose.
Yeah, I was just like that part was like, I guess like it's what everyone expected, right?
Yeah.
And so like you got that, but then like you got more than what you expected. It's weird.
It
was so good.
Because another one of my favorite shows right now is by the same writing team, Invincible.
Yeah.
And that showed that huge payoff was that one final episode that was just insane.
Yes.
With the dad and the son.
Yeah.
Here, Jensen Ackles is an incredible addition to this universe. He's one of the best things in the show. Homelander is far more layered and complex than you would ever expect a character like that to be.
Dude, I don't even know what to say about that character. It's just crazy how far he's gone, or like the fact that he was so what's the word I'm looking for? He was so what was it, restrictive of what he could do and like say and everything, and like how much of a hold like that corporation had over him, and now like he's like testing waters, right? He's like he's really showing like what his limit is, especially like how the last episode ended.
Which is it's a political allegory that has been made before that they're touching on, which this whole show does, which I'm not sure how qualified we are to talk about, but it is there. The subtext is there.
I mean, I see Twitter tweets all the time, even though that's their
guy. Twitter tweets.
Yeah, Twitter tweets.
The guy that's the stepdad.
Sorry, it made me sound like I'm 50 when I said that.
The MM stepdad guy is a very clear like what kind of person that's supposed to be.
Yes.
And this show, what I was meaning to say is, I don't think this show is supposed to be, what if superheroes were realistic? I think the show is supposed to be, what if superheroes were run by corporations, and how soulless that can turn into, and how even that this season was finally like, oh, even Homelander wanted to be a hero at one point, like a real one.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like a real fascinating, it's not even a twist, it's more just like, that's another added layer to him, that the way he thinks, the way he operates. And all the main characters in this are, they try to be good people, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, what I think makes the show work so well is it can be very, very mean and very angry, but the whole point is that I think it makes you root for all the main central characters even more whenever they do accomplish something good.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yes, that's what I wanted them to do this whole time. And the way the season ends, I was like, I'm really curious where that's going. I want to see if what they're doing with Ryan and how that could basically be Homelander again because of what Butcher's actions say whenever he says that thing to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, there was a lot of stuff in this season that I thought, because I always like, I realized that one of my favorite things is presenting a question to characters, what makes them think that way, like we talked about with the Marvel stuff in here too, and really getting into how all of that works. Like, this show only works as a show because of how much time you spend with all these people.
Yeah.
Because I know that Seth Rogen originally wanted to make this like a movie, and but it took forever to get developed, and then it turns out that they just made it a show, which I think it benefits far more from, because I think if you made it a movie, it would just focus on the shock value.
Oh yeah, I think that is just like, we wouldn't really get to spend a lot of time with like the other heroes that are like villains, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just like looking back at all the heroes that were showcased and all, like they all have different personalities, which I love, you know, and like the art, right? Like, so like A-Train.
Like, so great in this.
Yeah, it's like from season 1 to season 3, it's just like for someone you hate to like, but he's just really misunderstood. But like, he still has done like terrible things, and he tries to do good things, but it's still like, at the end of the day, like everyone's always against him regardless.
You know, something I love is that they made sure to drive home the fact that the Deep's whole like redemption was manufactured.
Oh yes.
Like, so by the time he gets too like cocky with himself, you're like, you are an idiot. It's like, you were like the stupidest person in this show. Like, great performance by that actor though, Chase Crawford, incredible, but he's so dumb. And like, you don't even, to the point where like you start to feel bad for him at a point, even though you remember what he did in season 1, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's one of the shows I think is so okay with presenting to you such complicated people, and is okay with doing that. Like, it's why I had something spoiled for me for this season before I started it, and it's because when I went to Cinemark, I saw the ad for season 3 because I hadn't finished season 2 yet. I admittedly took forever to finish it. Yeah. Even though I ended up loving that season, the Stormfront stuff was amazing.
Yes, it was.
And I saw that Butcher had gotten powers, but I didn't understand what that was in the context of the show yet, because it was in like the TV spot, and I was like, isn't their whole thing that no one should be able to do that? Yeah. And then they straight up say it. They're like, our whole thing is that no one should be able to do this. Yeah. But it leads to...
I mean, it makes sense why Butcher would use it, because it's like, again, you're going against people who have superpowers. You know, especially with somebody like Homelander, who is literally unbeatable, you know?
No, whenever... It's so gratifying whenever you see Homelander, like, lose twice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But, like, not even lose, but based off of, like, how, like, what are the people gonna say, like, the audience and everything, you know? But more so, like actual people, you know? Like,
no, exactly.
Yeah, like Soldier Boy and Butcher and Huey and all that, like, he almost, like, he lost, you know, because he ran away. But, and, like, the other one, too, where he, like, almost lost. It's just, like, it's insane.
And Black Noir, who I thought for such a long time was just a kind of, like, a riff on Batman. He doesn't talk and all that, getting into what he is was brilliant. I thought that was a really like creative and well done way to do a character arc and make you feel for someone, illustrate the kind of threat and bad person that Soldier Boy is, because without those flashbacks and all of that, you're kind of like, how bad can this guy be? And then, but they really make a point of being like, no, this dude sucks. Like, as charming as...
I love
he's
the
not charming, but
parallels with Soldier Boy and Homelander and like their team, how they feel about them.
Because it's the same.
It's the same way. It's insane. And it's funny, it's whenever like Homelander would like tell Soldier Boy that like, you know, we could be a family and all, and it could be all of us and we can like rule type of thing. And Soldier Boy says the same thing to Homelander when his dad says that. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I was like, this is so good.
It just proves to you that like this dude is Homelander, like as scary as he comes off in the show, because every time he shows up you're like, you have no idea what he's gonna do. He's just a broken and sad and like kind of just pathetic, because he sucks, person. And like he takes it out on everyone. And the fact that he's just sort of like, I just kind of, him saying to all those people like, and whenever he sits them all down, he's like, I just wanted a family. And like, I believe him. Like, I believe that's fully what he wanted. I don't know. I don't know how much longer the show can go on, but if it's all like this, then I'm like, I am fully here for it. I want to.
I think like eventually, because like now, since like I really thought when Butcher had or got powers, it was gonna be like close to the end.
The show.
The show, and so I really hope like the show like ends pretty soon.
I bet you
like
anything...
season 4 and like maybe max season 5, like a 5th season. But I really hope the next season like it's getting close to, or like it ends.
I'm betting you it has 2 or 3 more and then it ends. Because I can see it like.
See, I don't know. I think I at least see 2, but maybe 3. But just because like, unless they keep introducing characters, I guess. But other than that, it's just like with the characters that we have now, and where it seems like it's going. Like, what is it? Like they had that scene where Butcher says, or like the doctor says to Butcher, like, you only have like what, like a year.
Oh right, yeah. That signaled to me that I was like, okay, this show's gonna want to wrap itself up. I was like, because he's one of the. In my opinion, it's, if you were to like be like, okay, hey, who are the main 3 characters of the boys? I would say Huey, Butcher, and Homelander.
Yes.
Because Huey and Butcher are what get this whole show started in the first place.
Yes.
And the more they zero in on how he sees him as a brother, the more I love that relationship.
Yes. I really hope they talk more about Huey. I feel like Huey this season, I mean, he was still present and everything. You get to see him and all.
Yeah.
But I wish they show, I guess we see more of him later on as well.
I'm just wondering what he's thinking, because I love that the way they start off the season, they're all doing like, you know, jobs and all that stuff's so well done. And I love the satire of this show as well. It's like very, very apparent what they're talking about always.
Yes.
But it's really well done. You have anything else to say?
Yeah, you suck.
All right, about the show?
No, the show's great.
Okay. Well, that about does it, everyone. If you could, please review us on Apple and Spotify and wherever else you may be listening to us. It really helps us out. And hey, thank you so much for listening. I'm not sure what we're talking about next because I need to check what's coming up. But I feel like movies are kind of a blank for a while because all of the blockbusters are kind of done for now, I'm pretty sure. It feels that way, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at like showtimes and I didn't really see much else coming out.
I'm gonna go see Marcel the Shell with shoes on tomorrow, but that's just because I want to see that. I guess I want to see it, but I'm not really eager to see it as well. So, but then again, like nothing else is coming out, so I might as well see it in theaters. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it's incredible. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I just noticed that I was like, I loved everything that we talked about on this episode. So we'll see you guys next time. You can find us at Film Between on Twitter, and at Somewhere Between Film, I believe, on Instagram. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you later.
Later.